My distaste, my loathing for Trump has actually nothing to do with his policy positions. It has to do with the way he flouts the norms of civic dialogue that you were referring to earlier.
I think a lot of people hold that position. I think that the norms that we've seen on campus, I mean, you see this from a professor, I think they're at least equally corrosive. I will be speaking, actually, a debate. So, Change My Mind started 2016, maybe the first one broadcast was 2017. I think we did a test run or two. When we started it, I always wanted to sit down with professors. Hoped for it, reached out, never took place. To the point where we just sort of gave up hope. I guess we'll just have to do this on random streets in downtowns or with students. Sometimes we would do it with, professionals that ended up morphing into black and white and the gray issues. But April 10th at UPenn, I will be, hosting. Actually, I'm not hosting. We have a separate moderator.
There you go. Yeah.
They pick the school, they pick the moderator, they pick the terms, and we will actually have a debate, a discussion. So easy a student can do it. April 10th, UPenn, 7 p.m. Eastern. Change My Mind. It's the next chapter. Hey, YouTube, what you're about to watch is a new segment we call Change My Mind.
Open campus, a college campus.
Sure, it's an open campus.
We can actually do whatever we want.
You can do whatever you want. You can protest. Any professor, you pick.
Any professor.
Yeah. And or set up the dialogue how you think it would be best or most fair. Forgive me, or your sources. What do you usually read?
CNN.
CNN.
Twitter.
CNN, Twitter, and a lot of professors probably here.
Probably.
I think you're somewhat parroting from what you've learned from your professors. So I don't think.
I would agree with you there.
Data from CNN and Twitter and professors is wrong.
Liberal professors and students, you've seen it, they start yelling. Yep.
What statistics are you reading?
The statistics of, according to the FBI.
10% of women and 12% of men are raped on college campuses.
Incorrect. We don't have any professors willing to debate. Do you know professors here to be willing to? We would be more than happy.
Honestly, no, I don't.
You've been failed as students. You've been failed. It's time to go straight to the top to the people who failed you. When we started Change My Mind, the idea was back in 2016. The more I went on campus, the more I saw the failures of the institutions. And I want to be really clear about something. This was never designed to mock, denigrate, or dunk on students who don't know any better. It was always designed to highlight the failures of the institutions. We're actually going to be starting formal debates with professors at schools, or we can have a civil dialogue and maybe get to the root cause as to why you've been failed as students.
Free speech and why you should give a damn, Jonathan Zimmerman. Why should we give a damn?
Well, we should give a damn because free speech has been at the heart of every movement for change in this country.
Racial and gender and sexual contemporary perspectives.
Sex education, I discovered it was precisely the opposite.
That's right. Starting noon today, louderwithcrowder.com/tickets. We'll be taking some questions from the audience. So just to give you some backstory here, 10 schools we reached out to. I believe eight Ivy League. This is 10 years in the making. 10 years we've been trying. It's been a no-no where we decided we're really going to be aggressive to try and get this done because a lot of students would ask us, why won't you come in and have these conversations with professors? Believe me, we've tried. And in this case, we named it publicly, 10 schools. There were 2 who said, yeah, I think so, at Berkeley, and then they dropped out. And then we had 1 at Harvard with a professor. We thought, oh, okay, great. And then they listed their terms, which are so absurd that you understand this wasn't done in good faith. In the end, we ended up with only 1 professor at UPenn, Jonathan Zimmerman, who was very gracious, accepted it, the only one with the balls to show up. But I'm going to actually show you the terms, the kinds of conversations that had taken place with other professors so you understand just how much they have tried to avoid and control dialogue. But 1 did accept.
Millions of teachers, professors you see, millions of teachers who will debate Stephen C.
All right, here are the conditions 1 professor at Harvard demanded. I'm going to read these to you. And we've tried to remove any identifying information because lawyers. So they wrote this. They would agree to do it. By the way, your school, you pick the moderator. We've offered suggestions as far as terms, but you guys can actually pick them. Agreed? And then some caveats. Prior to posting or distributing the debate recording, Crowder's team shall provide the participant, meaning the professor, and their designated team with copies of debate recording for review and approval. The Crowder team will not post or distribute debate recording without the participant's prior written approval. I guess the concept of live was lost on them.
Yeah, a little bit.
At any time after approving debate recording or other event media, the participant, meaning professor, objects to the continued use or distribution of such content. The participant may notify the Crowder team in writing, specifying the content and the basis for the objection. Upon receipt of such notice, the Crowder team shall promptly remove the specified content from all platforms under its control within 2 business days, provided the objection is made in good faith. Hey, Harvard professor, can you fuck off enough? No, to all of it. But this is exactly the kind of teaching that we see with kids. Remember, regretful P&V?
Yes.
As far as sex, it's rape if you regret it. This person, this professor, teaching kids at an Ivy League, wanted to retroactively remove consent as a term from a live broadcast. What this tells me is that these professors, with the exception of Zimmerman, and I give my hats off to him, all the respect in the world, this professor is trying to get away with exactly what they have always gotten away with.
Yeah.
Anyone here want to argue that that makes sense? Do you think this person isn't controlling this kind of conversation in the classroom, on campus? I can tell you they are, because we've been banned from campuses, from people precisely like that.
Yeah. Welcome to the real world. You can't afterwards go, hey, I looked bad.
Right.
And therefore I want to remove consent. Just really quickly, I want to clarify the tickets are this afternoon. They will be available.
That's what I said.
You said noon, so I want to make sure people don't go at noon and look. This afternoon. Sorry.
Afternoon.
Thank you for disrupting my
reminder,
flow.
it's the Annenberg Center for Performing Arts in Philadelphia.
All right. No, back to what I was talking about.
Lawyers contact me, so.
I get it. Got a lot of vowels in their last name.
I know.
So this professor doesn't live in the real world. Just this is kind of the disconnect that hopefully we can address. Imagine anyone who's not a professor or in higher education making these kinds of wild demands in the real world, in actual business dealing.
Hey, Gerald.
Yeah.
I took a couple days. I went over everything, I thought about it, and I know what I want to demand for my new contract.
All right, shoot.
Well, besides all the financial things, I think we're on good terms there. I also want your office.
You want to switch offices?
That's not what I said. I want your office.
You want your office and my office, Josh?
Yes. Oh, and the ability to control your mic when we're live on the show. And add sound bites whenever I do this.
Okay, listen, Josh. Like I'm a reasonable guy, right? But I don't think this is going to work out.
Wow, art of the deal. That's a pretty good deal, actually.
No, that is not what we agreed to. You do not have control of my mic.
Yes, Gerald, that's exactly what we agreed to.
No, it is Josh.
Yeah, no, Gerald, actually, it does. It looks like he actually does have control of your mic.
Watch this.
Hey, I've been with men, and I am not ashamed of that at all.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
I'm sorry, Gerald. Here you go. I'll take it off.
Yeah.
I'll do this.
Thank you.
I also have the ability to shock him whenever I want.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Save that, and you know what, Toolman, save that as a preset so you can get in some of that action, some of the shocking Gerald action.
I'm way ahead of you.
All right, this is great. I like this. It feels like Ivy League in here.
He almost cursed.
We do, though, have a guest to get to, and everyone we want, of course, welcome him because he has made this possible. The only one. The debate is going to be April 10th, maybe more of a conversation, 7 p.m. at the Annenberg Center for the Performing Arts, UPenn. Louder with Crowder.com/tickets. Starting this afternoon, please welcome Professor Jonathan Zimmerman. Oh. Sorry, Professor, there was a stinger playing a silly horse shit before you came on. Welcome, sir. Can you see us and hear us?
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. I'll keep it because I know we'll be there for an hour and a half, so I won't keep this going on for too long. But I just want people to know you are a professor of history of education, UPenn graduate, School of Education. You've written quite a few books, including Who's America? Culture Wars in the Public Schools, Too Hot to Handle, A Global History of Sex Education, The Case for Contention, Teaching Controversial Issues in American Schools, Campus Politics, What Everyone Needs to Know, Free Speech, and Why You Should Give a Damn. I mean, so many books. Let me ask you, why do you think you're the only one who said yes?
Well, look, I can't speak for any of my colleagues who said no. All I can tell you is why I said yes, right? And the reason I said yes is because I believe in dialogue across difference. Steve, I'm a liberal Democrat.
I know.
And I know that you are not.
That's true.
And that's precisely why we should talk to each other, because that's how I think people learn.
Right.
I generally don't learn from people I agree with. I learn from people I disagree with.
Yeah.
And I think that especially right now with the country so polarized, it's important for people that have different points of view to converse with each other.
Yeah. No, I think that's a healthy perspective. I don't learn that much from people who agree with me, but but it makes me feel big, like I can hurt the little man. So I like having yes men around me. Well, let me ask you, the problem is I'm reading these books, I'm like, yeah, sure, I agree with it. So I know some people will be asking, well, why are you having this? It doesn't sound like it'll be much of a debate. And I think we both agree that freedom of speech, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is paramount, is very important. And like you said, we're very polarized as a nation. I think maybe where we'll find disagreement, hopefully in offering solutions, is maybe the root cause of it or where we think we should move forward. Does that seem like how it's going to go?
Yes, and I agree with that. And on the second point, Steve, one place where we may disagree, and note I said may because I'm not sure, is my own claim that the Trump administration is now restricting free speech in all kinds of harmful ways. I don't debate, or I should say, I don't doubt your central premise that universities have done a very poor job of both defining and protecting free speech, and they've often been in the place of censoring it. So we agree on that. Mm-hmm. But we both had moms, and I believe our moms taught us that two wrongs don't make a right. Right. And I believe that the Trump administration has forgotten that and is now engaging in its own forms of censorship.
Yeah, and I know that is a perspective that someone who is obviously leans more left. And again, I never want to but you said you're a classical liberal Democrat. Yeah, I think that'll be a healthy disagreement to have, and we can get into that. My mom did, but she's French Canadian, so she wasn't able to say it. She would just, two wrong, three, you're going to go the wrong way. I'd say, okay, Mom, I think I get it. But yeah, so and I don't want you to tip your hand or anything like that. Obviously, would you mind for the audience maybe listing some examples of where you think two wrongs, the Trump administration really clamping down on freedom of speech?
Well, I mean, these executive orders about how schools can't teach this thing called critical race theory, this thing called gender theory, whatever those are, because of course the order doesn't define them. I think that's a terrifying prospect. I can see all kinds of reasons to object to critical race theory, but I can't see a reason for an administration, which, by the way, has said that schooling should be a state and local concern, to issue a White House order clamping down on that kind of expression. That just seems completely hypocritical to me.
Okay.
No matter what you think about critical race theory.
Yeah, I think it's silly. But I also understand your perspective. I think that silly ideas should be allowed to be expressed. So I agree with that. I think the context, there'll be a lot of contextual dialogue regarding freedom of speech, where we're discussing the government or we're discussing businesses who maybe perhaps have relationships with the government where those lines get blurred. But I agree. I definitely don't want to see it, though. I think that many people on your campus would think that I'm just like a hair shy of supporting a religious oligarchy. It's not true, but it kind of is.
Well, look, again, I can't speak for them. I think that, there's also been some misrepresentation about the political atmosphere and sentiments on campuses. I think if you watch certain shows, I'm not going to say which ones, you might imagine that, it's just all these flaming Marxists. And that is not true. It is true that professors lean left, absolutely, but they lean left in like voting for Bernie or Obama. That's different from being a Marxist. By the way, there are Marxists on campus,
yes.
Okay, but they are a minority.
Yeah.
So this idea that we're all these kind of crazy radicals is just false. What we are liberal Democrats, which is different from being a crazy radical.
Well, Okay, and I think I agree with you on some of those premises and disagree on some, which is, again, we need people to actually show up so they can hear. And I'll just, but just listen, if it comes down the line, it's you or me, I will not hesitate. The problem is these always end up being friendly. Like, there was kind of a debate, but you guys actually were productive. People now look for the clickbait. And that's one thing we don't do here. We provide all of our references.
Well, look, I mean, yes.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Steve, I think one other place, just to show my hand, one other place we may disagree is about Trump himself and his behavior. And let me just show my cards here. I am a deep opponent of President Trump, but not because of his policy positions, because I think most of those policy positions are arguable. And when I say arguable, I mean reasonable people can disagree about them.
Yeah.
I think a border wall is a silly idea, but I don't think everybody who wants a border wall is silly. If you think about something like tariffs, we've been arguing about tariffs since Alexander Hamilton. So my distaste, my loathing for Trump has actually nothing to do with his policy positions. It has to do with the way he flouts the norms of civic dialogue that you were referring to earlier. That's what I object to about Trump. He is the president of the country, and almost every day he does or says something that I believe flouts the norms we need to converse with each other.
Yeah.
That's why I object to him.
I think I think a lot of people hold that position. I think that the norms that we've seen on campus, I mean, you see this from a professor, I think they're at least equally corrosive. Because I don't think that the norms should be people intimidating the
I agree with that. I mean, here's the bottom line. I agree with you, right? He calls people morons, dummies, low IQ, and we call people transphobes and homophobes and misogynists, right? But it's the same in the sense that it's the substitution of name calling for argument. But again, two wrongs don't make a right. Just because we've used silly slurs to clamp down on free speech doesn't mean we should case the president of the United States doing it. And by the way, he is the president, and that matters too. Like, I'm not the president, right? He is. He's the leader of the nation.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you on that. And I also, I've had my hands full with some of those on the right now, where you're discussing, for example, Iran. I think that there are reasonable positions to be held on both sides of that. To me, we've reached a point when you talk about polarization, like, I don't know if you were watching earlier, I said, hey, when it started, I said, give it 3 months. Because everyone was saying World War III, everyone was saying Iraq. I'm like, Iraq isn't the only comparison. I said, my perspective is there's information I can't know. As it relates to national security, by the way, we would both have to acknowledge that. They can't tip their hand with war. I said, after 3 months, then we can determine if it's a forever war and if it's impeachment worthy. That's all. And I think that there are reasonable people on both sides. But people saying we are at a nuclear holocaust, it is going to be Iraq, that gets the clicks. And so I really do appreciate you accepting. It's it'll be a debate, but I think it'll be productive and respectful. And I wish there were more of you out there.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. And by the way, screw you.
Yes, absolutely. Screw you. And you're a piece of shit. By the way, where can people buy said piece of shit's books? Where can they go buy your books?
Jeff Bezos sells them, obviously.
Okay.
Right? And most Barnes and Nobles do. Yeah.
All right. There you go. That is Zimmerman, Professor Zimmerman, the face that Candace Owens sees in her nightmares. Thank you very much. We will see you soon when I get to UPenn. Appreciate it, Professor.
Thank
you. YouTube's is something you're not allowed to say according to the guidelines. I was quoting the guidelines. I'm glad you're still here. It means you watched this video all the way through. Oh, it says here that Rumble, where you can go follow my channel, lets you say pretty much anything, provided it's not illegal. That reminds me of, what does it remind me of? Oh, yeah. YouTube, pre-2015. Go on and follow me there. I'm live, 11 a.m. Eastern, weekdays. Don't call YouTube a. Oh, it's just a different way of saying it's.